The institution of marriage in Islam has conditions and requirements that need to be met before the marriage is valid, such as permission from the guardian of the woman. Similarly, the rights and duties that are an obligation for both the man and a woman in an Islamic marriage are also derived from the Quran and Sunnah as well. But what happens when liberalism enters into even the realm of marriage? Meaning the concept of marriage in Islam and the concept of marriage in the liberal world are polar opposites. And so what happens to the Muslims who've opened the door to this ideology of liberalism and have become affected by it, whether it be the man or the woman, or in general even in the societies that we may be living in, when liberalism and the freedom to do as you please and act as you please, and morality has no source from what, in terms of a reference point, what is right and wrong does not come from what Allah Himself has revealed, the creator of all things, but rather whatever we wish and desire. What happens to marriage in that situation? One, we see same-gender marriages, which have no basis whatsoever in Islam. Two, we have role reversals, meaning the role of the man in a marriage and the role of a woman in a marriage have completely been reversed. Or, even worse, the complete elimination of roles altogether. And that there is no actual definition of what the role of a man is in the marriage and what the role of a woman is in the marriage. Rather, we see Muslims actually advocating for the elimination of many aspects of these roles and duties from marriage altogether. They fight against it, even though these things are legislated in the very religion, Islam, that they claim to be following. They claim to be Muslims, but have an aversion and a problem with these roles that are defined for them in their religion and have been legislated for them in their religion. And this is due to the effect of liberalism and the theories and the philosophies behind it. So there are role reversals or the complete elimination of roles altogether. And the way marriage is to be in accordance with Islam is seen as backward and even oppressive. That is why we see many Muslim women today speaking about marriage with the influence of liberalism and feminism, believing that happiness as it pertains to marriage is found in other than what Allah has revealed, with the excuse that men today are not like men of before. However, in reality, they have just been affected by the liberalist and feminist ideology, so much so that they do not even realize. For example, the concept of obeying the husband is foreign to them now, even though this is an obligation in the deen. But what causes someone to dislike that so much? It is the influence of liberalism. When you're told that you are free to do as you please, and that whatever is correct is not connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what He has legislated, this is what breeds this type of attitude towards the rulings found within Islam. They believe that they are equals with men and advocate for equality in every matter. However, they do not know that Islam actually is not a religion of equality. And that is where their misconception lies. Many people believe that Islam is actually a religion of equality when it comes to rights and freedoms. And that is incorrect. Rather, Islam is a religion of justice. And there's a difference between justice and equality. Equality in every single aspect of life, between man and woman or otherwise, in actuality does not bring about justice in every affair. Now, Islam does have equality when it comes to rewarding for actions. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislates certain obligations for us to do, salah and siyam and zakah Umrah, Hajj, and the like. If a man does these things and a woman does these things and fulfills these obligations, they are rewarded equally. If a woman gives sadaqah and a man gives sadaqah, they are rewarded equally. And they are not oppressed in that matter. There is no discrepancy in that affair. However, when it comes to rights, then Allah gives each individual their rights based on who they are and based on the nature of their creation, based on their nature. So for example, there are days within the month where a woman gets her menstruation or her cycle, and therefore she does not pray during that time. And that is due to how she was created. However, for men do not get menstruation, and therefore they do not miss salah. However, if we were to advocate for equality in this affair, then equality would be to disregard the nature of how the woman has been created, and likewise give a man 6-7 days off from salah, even though he does not get a menstruation. And that is what equality does. So equality does not actually bring about justice. Likewise, when it comes to marriage, a man and a woman, their roles are different. The obligation of providing for the family and the household, for the wife and children, is upon the man. If we were to advocate for equality in this affair, then it would mean that the man's obligation for providing, the woman is also likewise responsible for providing, just like the man. Regardless if she's sick, regardless if she's taking care of the children, regardless if she's working, regardless if she's pregnant, none of that matters. Equality is equality. And so you see that this idea of equality in every single affair is not a concept that corresponds with the way that Allah created mankind. And therefore the highest form of justice is the rights that the one who created mankind, man and woman, and knows their nature, the rights that He has given them. There's no form or system or theory that can possibly give them those rights better than the one who created them and knows their nature and knows what is best for them. Another effect of liberalism as it pertains to the institution of marriage is the fact that one must not be married, it is not a must that one be married before having children, since of course morality and right and wrong is based on the individual's freedoms and not derived from what Allah forbids and deems to be immoral. So we see in our time today those who claim that they are Christians, for example, and the majority of them have children before marriage in Western societies. And this has become something normal. So much so that we ourselves as Muslims have become desensitized by this thing, or this concept. However, is this Christian? It is not. We also see this increasing within Muslims as well. It has become somewhat of a trend or fashion nowadays to just go on a vacation somewhere, have quote unquote fun, and become pregnant by a stranger. And if that wasn't bad enough, then post it all over social media, only to have a bunch of other Muslims praising it and glorifying it. Where does this come from? Is it just the sin of zina here that we're talking about? No. Rather, it is the idea that one is free to do as they please, and no one can judge, since we are all free to do as we please. Therefore, there is no right or wrong, or moral or immoral. It is liberalism, which makes the sins that we are witnessing today and how they've exponentially increased even greater and worse than the sins themselves. Meaning the fact that one believes that they have the right to disobey Allah, that they have the right to fornicate, that itself, that belief itself is worse than the act of fornication itself. Because fornication is a sin, a major sin. However, believing that you have the right to do so is kufr. And that is what liberalism does. Unfortunately though, many of those who hold these opinions don't know what it is that they're believing or what it is that they follow. They have no idea that these principles and ideas that they have, that they've been affected with by way of liberalism, because of living in these societies, they don't know that these things actually remove them from the fold of Islam. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.